Welcome to Fresh Thinking Podcast today. I'm your host, Greg. Today we are going to talk about what resource geologists should know about mine planning. And I'm honored to be joined by Hamish Guthrie today. Hamish is our managing consultant at mining department. He has over 25 years of operational and consulting experiences over a lot of commodities. And welcome, Hamish.
Thanks, Greg. It's great to be here.
So, Hamish, what is the general workflow for the mine planning?
Thanks, Greg. It all starts with the geological interpretation and the resource model, of course. The main steps are it's getting familiar with the geology, the resource model and all the attributes that are in that model, and just trying to understand what are the mining implications of the geology.
Okay.
The main steps, then we apply modifying factors. So we need to align with practical mining excavation, so applying mining losses.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get everything out of the ground.
Yep.
And dilution as well. We don't normally get the same grade that the resource model has.
Of course.
So we need to consider all those items. And then we start to assign the practical mining methodology. So for open pits, this would include your pit slopes and your minimum mining widths, so a lot of your practical implications. And for underground, it would mean applying what are the dimensions of the underground mine and the mining spans.
Okay.
From that step, we'd move to the cost and revenue assumptions and apply those so that then we can optimise and come up with a mining inventory that we'd take on to possible mine schedule scenarios, ultimately to create cash flows and NPV results to help with the project strategy. From that step on, we'd then step into more detailed mine design and scheduling commences. But that's the main steps.
Okay. So thanks, Hamish. So for the audience, if you want to know more details about mine planning, we get the previous podcasts at 62 and 66 talking about open pit and underground. Feel free to jump in and get more details. But so back to the topic. As Hamish just described, give a very high-level description about mine planning. Sensitivity tests sounds like are quite important in the end, and after you set up all the workflow. And usually there's a lot of uncertainty from various aspects. I guess that's why the sensitivity tests are always important. So how will the model or resource models confidence get used in the pit optimization or planning?
Yeah, definitely, Greg. So the resource classifications, your measured, indicated, inferred sort of fields are a big part of mine planning. They may be just to limit, so to exclude the low confidence material might be one way to do it. Mm-hmm. But it's also good to include as much confidence or material classification through the mine plan, so we can demonstrate where that material is in the mining sequence, and possible capital decisions based on that confidence of that material.
Cool. So thanks, Hamish. Resource classification is a very big bucket. For us, resource geologists, we always put a lot of things in there, including, for example, sample quality, the estimation quality, and some areas you might have high confidence somewhere, whereas some area might have low confidence. So is there any benefit or value from your perspective that if we should add a little bit more details to reflect our confidence in the model? Will that be useful, or would that be just dead weight?
Greg, I always think the more information that we can put in, the better. Mm-hmm. As I said before, we use those resource classifications in our mine planning, but there's nothing stopping us by adding additional resource confidence fields that can be used for numerous reasons. Some of these might be just to guide the exploration process. When do you need to put more holes in to your lower confidence material? But it also would help for different steps of the mining. For example, when do you need to get your grade control in to define your more detailed mining of a mining block?
Of course.
So that there's a lot of useful stuff that we can get from those resource classification fields.
Okay, well, thanks. That's very well explained. So, the other question, will there be any value to do any estimation in the waste domains? I mean, usually we don't have a lot of samples in the waste domains, and whether it worth the effort to.
Yeah, and my answer would be anything that adds value to the mining of the ore block or potentially the waste material that gets included in the ore block as dilution also helps us understand how that might impact the mine plan. And more information in the waste rock, where a lot of our mining spends a lot of energy, is also useful as well. So it's good to understand whether it's going. It may be waste material in the resource model, but it may be getting sent to the processing plant. It may be stockpiled on the surface somewhere for a future processing feed, or it may be going to a waste dump. But it's good to include that in the mine plan if it adds some sort of value.
Okay, so that's usually quite easy for us to do. It's just if we understand the reason and the feedback, maybe we can easily do that, and next time to deliver to our mining and engineers colleagues. So what else would you prefer the resource geologist to put in the resource model?
Yeah, and it's a great question. In the perfect world, as much as possible. I guess some examples might be, depending on how much value that they provide to the operation, but I think a big one is a detailed mining depletion, including everything that, not that you've got survey data that you know is mined, but you think may have been mined.
Okay.
And whether that be open pit or underground.
Okay.
Any areas that you deem to be sterilised because of historic mine voids.
Okay.
They all provide a huge amount of value.
Okay. That makes sense.
We sort of discussed some of the waste material properties that may impact either mining cost or mining productivities.
Okay.
These are all fields that we can add to the model to help mine planning.
I guess, especially in the waste domains, there are some potential acid-forming materials that will be even more important under the nowadays context that ESG is getting more and more valued. And
No, it's a good point, Greg. As a lot of our focus is around the material going to the processing plant, but we can have huge volumes of material that are being stored on a waste dump. And as you said, we need to know if that's has the potential of causing acid, but also how stable are our waste dumps, which is linked to the material properties, as well as the stability and the erosion control that you might need to change your waste placement strategy based on what's in the ground.
Yep, definitely.
A couple of more examples, your geometallurgical information. So anything that we know is in the ground that could impact the processing plant's ability to extract the commodity or the cost of extracting that material. That's all useful information. geotechnical information, a large impact to the mining costs, and all these things are spatially controlled. So it's a large part of any open pit, but there's also a lot of value in modelling geotechnical properties through underground mines as well.
Thanks, Hamish. And if I can add one more sentence is, most of the time, if the project is not under production, we have very limited geomet data and probably only a couple drill holes at most. So I guess the point to make is, even if we don't have a lot of data, there's still value if we can give some rough estimation in the model with data we have, because we've already spent the money, and why don't we put the information there, and it can be used for next round of estimation or validation, and maybe our mining engineers colleagues can make use of that information. And
Yeah, I agree, Greg. And my view is that any data that you can get early helps you down the track. You don't need to put additional drill holes in the ground to get samples that you potentially could have got earlier on, and done some early test work.
Cool. And that draws this podcast to a close. Hamish, thank you for joining us on this Fresh Thinking.
Thanks, Greg. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, so if you would like to listen to more of our Fresh Thinking podcasts, you can find that on the YouTube or any other mainstream platforms. Okay, if you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will be keep updated. Thanks.